Hi guys, today we're going to be playing with another new indie palette, and there's going to be a lot of that coming on my channel because I've gotten a lot of packages. I was sick for like 2 weeks, then I went on vacation for a week, so I'm sort of backed up, but this is actually a new release, so I'm going to prioritize this because this palette hasn't even launched yet. So I'll have all of the launch details down below in my description box, as well as the pricing and all of that. So this is the Rogue palette from Fantasy Cosmetica, and it's launching on the 1st at 9 a.m. PST. Now, I have tried all of the palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica, and they are honestly one of my favorite brands. I love their quality, I love their color stories, I love everything that they do. So when they sent me an email and they were like, hey, we're coming out with a new palette, would you like to try it? I was like, oh my god, of course I would like to try it. I saw the pictures, I fell in love. I'm like, this is so beautiful. It's such a good color story. It's so... I don't even know how I'd explain it, but I feel like it's not really something I feel like I've seen before, but it works very well. I like how dark it goes, but there's also some lighter shades in here to kind of, you know, make it a little bit more cohesive of a palette. So I'm so excited to be playing with this. I'm gonna do 2 looks with this. I don't have time to do 2 looks with this, but I'm doing it anyway. Let me just put things into perspective for you. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 new palettes that I've yet to do anything with. So if I'm gonna do 2 looks with each palette, at least that's 12 days of filming. And within those 12 days, I'm probably going to get more packages and get even further behind. So I'm gonna do 2 looks with this because I'm so excited. I really wanna test this out. I feel like I'm gonna love wearing this palette so much that by the time the 2 looks are up, I'm not gonna be satisfied. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this. So I'm just gonna start by priming my eyes. We're gonna see what the quality of this one is like, if it's as good as her other palettes, which I would be shocked if it's not. I also do have a code with Fantasy Cosmetica. It is Annette, and it will save you 10% off. It is affiliated, just so you know. Thank you so much if you do use my codes. It really does help a lot. So I'm just priming with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base like I always do. I am so excited to put this palette on my eyes. I think I want to do like a halo eye today. God, I haven't done that in probably a year. I don't remember last time I did that. So I think that's what I want to do. And it's going to be a pretty simple halo eye. I think I don't want to do anything like super fancy. So let's see, I'm going to find a bit of a fluffy, but not like too fluffy brush, which is just going to be my Rephr 13 as per usual. And I think what I want to do is I want to use... What do I want to do for my halo eye? I'm thinking these 2 colors here, and then this one on my lid. There's so many things I feel like I can do with this. Like, it's a very versatile palette despite it only having 5 mattes. I could also go like the green and minty route, like that could be fun too, but I really want to use this shade and see how this performs. So I'm going to start with this shade in my crease and then do the halo portion with this one. I think that's going to be my plan. So I'm going to use the shade here called Stealth, and I'm just going to kind of sweep this in my crease. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I am going to keep the shape of this pretty round though, because when I do halo eyes, that's just sort of what I prefer. So I'm just going to put this down. It's nice and pigmented right away. I'm not really going to be winging this out at all because I feel like I just want this to be a very rounded look, and then I'll use some lashes that probably flare out a little bit to get that flare effect, but I want the eyeshadows to be just very focused in a round matter all the way around my eye here. I don't even know if I'm going to take this shade under my eye or just use the dark one. I think I'm just going to use the dark one. So this is looking really nice. I'm curious how that teal shade is going to layer over the top, but we will find out when I get there. But I'm just excited to see another release from the brand. I should also probably mention that they are coming out with 2 fragrances, and she did offer to send them to me, but I'm not really someone who's super into fragrances, and I just feel like I wouldn't be a very helpful person letting you know like what something smells like and if I like it or not. I don't even know if I would like it from the descriptions. So if you're interested, they are like small little like sample sizes kind of, so just check them out on her website. It will say on there like what the notes and stuff are if that's something that you're interested in testing out. But I didn't want to accept something that I wasn't sure if I was going to like, and I felt like it would just be a little bit of a waste. So I'm next going to take the shade here called Looning, I think this is, or Lunning, or Cunning. It might be Cunning. I'm sorry, the font here is a little bit hard to read, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm gonna take this in the inner portion and the outer portion of my lid to create that halo effect, and then I'm probably just gonna use one shimmer on my lid and call it a day. I don't want this to be a complicated look at all. And I do try to make most of my looks recreatable. I don't even know if that's a valid word. It probably is. Just kind of blending this into my creaser, keeping most of this just focus on the very outer part, and it seems to be blending quite nicely. It's maybe not the absolute most buildable eyeshadow that I've ever tried, but the more I go in, the better it is looking here. So I think this is about where I'm going to leave it with that side. I'm just going to do the same in my inner corner here and just leave space in the middle for one of the shimmers. Maybe I'll use two shimmers actually, because there is one that would layer really nicely over this one as well. So we'll see when I kind of get there. I am leaving the middle of my halo open. I just kind of prefer that on my hooded eyes. Halo eyes I feel like is one of those things that is very personal, and I still haven't really figured out like the best halo eye shape for myself, because I don't really do these kind of looks very often. I'm not sure. I just don't know how I feel about halo eyes on myself personally, but that has nothing to do with the eyeshadows, or like it's just a personal preference thing and what I feel like suits my eyes. I'm just not sure if it's like flattering on my eyes, but that's not to say that you always need to wear things that are flattering, not only on your eyes, but also on, you know, with your fashion or whatever. Just wear whatever makes you happy. And don't worry about what other people think, because they are not the ones who are wearing it. And if it's looking a little rough just in the inner portion here, that is simply just me being sloppy with my blending and also sucking at doing halo eyes. So do not judge the eyeshadows for that, because I take full responsibility of however it is looking right here, because I am just not the best at blending in this area, which is why I tend to usually keep my eyes like very light in the front portion, because I feel like I do have like some loose skin here and it's just not that easy to get a smooth blend, especially the older I get. I mean, I am in my 30s, so that's kind of what happens when you get a little bit older, and I feel like I messed up just right here. Just gonna kind of work on the shape of this. Halo eyes are really not that easy to do if you want to get like a good smooth blend, but thankfully there's always lashes, which I used to never say that, but it is a thing. It does make every eye look just look more put together if your blends aren't perfect in the end. I am going to take, I think, just that same shade underneath my eye, just so I can kind of connect it all the way around. This is a really, really beautiful color. I love these kind of blues. I'm also not going to do anything like in the middle underneath my eye, like a under eye halo. I also don't really prefer that. I think on my eyes it just looks a bit weird. Just gonna kind of work on my edges here a little bit before going in with the shimmers. And I do want this to be quite a shimmer heavy look, so I am going to be layering over the top of these mattes, probably with shimmers pretty much all over, because I know that I'm gonna love the shimmers. Like, they really are the star of the show. Now, before I do the shimmers, I'm gonna use some of my NYX glitter primer like I always do, because I just feel like it makes the shadows pop so much more. So I'm just gonna basically put that glitter primer all over my lid, because I am gonna use two shimmers and I'm probably gonna use them all over, like I said, kind of over the top of these mattes, because I feel like this shimmer formula is a little bit on the like toppery sides, so it's gonna look even better if I have some mattes underneath. So I'm thinking I'm gonna use this shade, which is more of like a greenish blue. This one is more of a purplish blue. Maybe the purpley blue is gonna go better. I'm gonna take some of this one like on the inner and outer corners of my lid. This one is called Deception. It looks really, really pretty. So I'm gonna leave again the middle of my lid open for a lighter shimmer and just kind of do these basically over the top of where I put down that teal shade. This is really, really pretty. I feel like this would be beautiful all over the lid. This isn't really going to show that much when I'm done with the look because I feel like the middle shade that I'm going to put on is going to cover most of this again, but I want to put on quite a lot of this just so you can see what it looks like mostly on its own, but that is really, really pretty. Okay, and then for the start of the show, it's absolutely going to be the shade which is called Trickster, which is this one up in the corner. Absolutely a duochrome slash multichrome. They are going to be selling these as singles, I'm pretty sure. I think the mattes, I read this yesterday. I don't remember exactly if I'm right, but I think the mattes are going to be $4 and the multichrome is $9 or something like that. So if you just want to pick up like 1 or 2 shades from this palette, I think you'll be able to do that. This is so pretty. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna layer this like all over. Oh, I love that. That is exactly what I was expecting and everything I was hoping for and more. Like, that is so beautiful. Wow. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up. I think this is all I want to do. I'm gonna do a little bit of this shade though in my inner corner as well before I kind of finish off. I don't want to have a ton of this, just a little bit right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and do some lashes, something in my waterline, and a lipstick, and I'll be right back. This is a look with lashes and lipstick on, and for my lashes I tried some new ones today. These are these stiletto ones that is with BK Beauty and Risa Does Makeup, and I really like these. It was a little bit of a learning curve. I feel like it is with like all new lashes, and I realized that I have a mascara smudge on my nose that I forgot to remove, so I should probably do that. But I really like these lashes. I like that they're kind of wispy and kind of light, but also they give enough volume and length that I feel like they work well with looks that I really want to show off, but not cover up completely while still adding that little drama that I feel like the look needs. So I really like these. I think they're beautiful. So far, I've been really liking the collab that they have done together. I think that the lashes are really nice. They're super easy to put on as well. And these have, I would say, it's not a thin band, but it's also not a thick black band. It is a black band, but it's quite on the thinner side. So it makes it a little bit easier to get a good application with them. And I feel like they're going to last for quite a long time. Like, they feel like really nice, sturdy lashes. So I've been really liking these. My lip combo today is a lip liner from Laura Mercier in the shade Macaron. And on top, I'm wearing the LYS lipstick in the shade, let's see, what are you called? Optimistic. If you want to know the rest of my face, watch my makeup diary series. I go through everything that I'm wearing in every single look and just kind of show you back-to-back looks that I've done. So if you haven't yet watched that series, I would highly recommend it if you're curious about like my base products and my blushes, my highlighters, and all of that stuff. I always go through everything in there. So that's gonna be it for look number 1. I really like this. I'm so excited to be playing more with this palette, and I can't wait to put this shimmer on my eye and this shimmer on my eye. I can't wait. I think it's gonna look so good. I really want to use like the greens with the black maybe in the last look. Maybe try to pull in the purple. Not sure I'm gonna be able to do that, but so far I'm having a really good time with this, and I think those shimmers are so beautiful. Oh, so pretty. I can't wait to do another look. Okay, let's go ahead and do another look. I'm so excited. I have a bit of a plan for what I want to do today, and I want this to be quite a dramatic look, and I want it to be sort of one of my big wings because sometimes I just can't help myself, and I love doing that. So I'm actually going to start with the black shade down here, and I think I'm going to use the black and the green and maybe a little bit of the purple, maybe not the purple. I haven't decided yet on that, but I'm going to start with the black, and I'm going to do this in a same way as I do my big wings for hooded eyes. I can link my tutorial up in the corner. This is going to be a little bit more of a, not complicated way, but a couple more steps. I'm actually going to start my wing a little bit lower down than I normally would because I do want to connect my lower lash line and have shades under my lower lash line. So I find that if I pull this down, I have kind of a little bit of room right here to put eyeshadow. So I'm just going to make a line to start, and then I'm going to basically connect it to the top of the hood of my eye. If you don't have hooded eyes, you're probably gonna have to do this in a bit of a different way, but just play around, figure out what works for you. It really is just going to depend on your eye shape, like what kind of wings or graphic shapes are going to work for you. It's just going to take some trial and error. So I'm just going to do the same on both eyes. As you can see, it really doesn't take that long, and using a flat sort of angled brush like this makes it a lot easier to make that line, and also using eyeshadow is a lot easier than using something like a liquid liner because you just have a little bit more control and your lines don't end up being as sharp, which could be a bad thing depending on what you're going for, but you can just maneuver it a little bit better if you're using eyeshadows. So if you struggle with using like liners, maybe try starting to use eyeshadows as liners. That doesn't always work for me though if I try to do it like on my top lash line because it always just transfers. But for something like graphic looks like this, I find it very, very easy. So I'm just filling this in with the black eyeshadow, and I think I'm also going to put this on most of my lid as well. I'm trying to decide like how big I want this wing to be, if I wanted to go through my crease or not, and I kind of think I do. So I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so that I can, it's hard to explain what I'm doing here, but I do want this. Okay, this is getting out of hand. This is not exactly where I thought this was going, but I'm gonna start taking this through my crease a little bit as well. I don't want it to be too high, but I want it to be high enough that I can see this a little bit when my eye is open. Again, this is gonna be a lot easier to do using eyeshadows and trying to use like a water activated liner or something like that. And it's just gonna be one of those like trust the process. It's gonna look a little bit messy before it all comes together, but just kind of take your time and work slowly and make sure you look up all the time so that you can see what it is you're doing. So this doesn't have to be perfect because I am going to layer shimmers over the top of this. I just want to make sure that the kind of angle and the line is looking the same on both sides, and I think that is looking pretty good so far. I'm gonna switch to a bit of a larger brush here so that I can start filling this in. I still don't want the brush to be like too big because I want to have a little bit of control, but I'm just gonna use like a big kind of pencil brush and just fill in all of this with the black eyeshadow. I just want to see like how opaque this is. It is not the most pigmented and opaque black I've ever used, but it does seem to build quite nicely. I'm just kind of starting to fade this in towards the beginning of my eye here so I get a bit of a fade, because that way when I go in with the green on the front portion, it's going to blend a little bit better. I'm just going to do the same on this eye. Alright, this blend is looking a little bit messy, but again, it's fine. Trust the process. We're going to layer stuff over the top of this anyway. I'm going to take a flat brush. I'm going to take the shade called Shadows, which is the dark green, and I'm going to use that in the front portion of my lid. Now, if you wanted the shimmers to be a little more kind of sheer and lighter, you probably wouldn't do this step, but I really want these shimmers to pop, so I just want to have a base underneath all of this for the shimmers to go on top of. I'm not going to have it all the way in to my inner corner because I want that inner corner to be super light and bright and contrasting to the rest of my lid. So I'm going to leave that open for whatever it is that I end up putting there. Probably going to be some kind of a highlighter because this palette doesn't really have the kind of inner corner shades that I prefer to use. So I'm just kind of layering this green over the top of the black like this. So I'm seeing that this eye is a little bit higher up than this eye, so I'm just going to go back and make sure that they are as symmetric as I'm able to get them. That really is like the trick to doing more graphic looks. It's like you really want the symmetry on both sides to be the same if you're able to. Not a huge deal, maybe you don't care, but I do prefer them to look as even as I'm able to get them, and I think that is looking pretty good. So I think that's all I'm going to do for like the matte shadows. I'm probably going to use a matte underneath my eye as well, but I really want to go in with these shimmers now. I'm just going to put a small layer of my NYX glitter primer all over where I want my shimmers to go, which is going to be all over this look pretty much. Which is why I'm not too fuzzy about how the mattes are looking underneath, because they are going to get covered up, even the black, I think. So I think I'm just going to take this shade. I was gonna use like this one too, but I don't really think it's gonna go. Maybe we'll do like these two under my eye or something like that. But I'm gonna start with this one, which is the shade called Sneak Attack. Does I say sneak? I'm really not sure, but I'm basically just going to go all over this with this shadow. And I'm probably even gonna go over all of the black in the outer corner as well, because it is sort of a sheer shadow. So I do think it's gonna make it look darker out here than it would otherwise. This is so pretty. Like, I love the shimmers in this palette. They are so stunning and so impactful. Yeah, you can definitely see the gradient on my eye despite me layering this all over, even on the black. Like, you can see that the base underneath is darker on the outer corner here, which is what I wanted. And I really just want this to be like a big shimmery wing. I love how this is looking. Now, to just kind of finish this off, I'm gonna take the shade called Trickster, which I've already used, and I loved it so much that I really want to use it again. This is just one of my favorite kind of eyeshadows. I just think that they are so beautiful. I'm just gonna put that in the front of my lid here and kind of blend it over that shadow as well to create a nice gradient. I might even just use this as my inner corner shade. I do feel like this is the only one that's really light enough to do that with. But these shades are just blending so nicely. Like, look at that. Look at how shiny that is. That looks absolutely stunning. Let's do some of that purple under my eye. I'm a little unsure if it's really gonna show up that well because it's not that dark of a color. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my eyeshadow base and just use that under my eye because I really want this shadow to pop. So I'm just gonna put some eyeshadow primer on my lower lash line, which I don't usually do, but if I'm gonna use a lighter shade that I really want to stand out, I do want to have a bit of a tacky base for it to do that with. Just wiping off my brush here, and I'm gonna go in with the shade called Subtle, which is this one. I don't know how this is really gonna go with the look, but honestly, I don't care. I just want to try it. So we're just going to use this on the lower lash line pretty much all the way across to the inner corner, and then I might layer a little bit of the shimmer over the top of this as well, just so we can try it. I'm gonna go over this with the, have I used this color yet? I think I used that one. Have I used this one? This is not really gonna go. Maybe it will. It has like a very strong blue shift to it, but looking straight on, it looks like purple when I look at it here. So I'm not really sure, but we're just gonna play. This may or may not work out, and if it doesn't, oh well, at least I tried. I'm gonna spray this a little bit with some Fix Plus because I don't have a tacky base on my lower lash line, so I just want to make sure that I don't get any crazy fallout. I'm just gonna layer this over the top pretty much. Okay, that was a good choice. I think that looks absolutely beautiful. And I really think that these shimmers, they look so good when layered over mattes because they do have more of that sheer quality to them. So if you layer them over something, the shift really comes out, and that looks really pretty. I don't usually do an all shimmer lower lash line, but I think this is going to kind of work. So I think this is where I'm going to leave it with the shadows. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish off, probably just do something in my waterline and some lashes, and I'll be back and show you the final look and give you my final review on this beautiful palette. Okay, and here is the final look. I put on the Divine Lights from House of Lashes, one of my absolute favorites. I think that they are so beautiful, and I just wanted a very reliable pair of lashes today, and I feel like that is exactly what I got. So let's talk about this palette. I think the palette is absolutely stunning. The only thing that I feel like I would critique it on is that it's not my favorite matte formula. I feel like these mattes are not as good as some of the mattes in the other palettes, at least in my opinion. They are buildable, but they take a little bit more building than what I would normally prefer. I do prefer something that's a little bit more opaque upon first application. These are a little bit thinner of a formula. I don't think they're bad by any means, and they're very, very workable, and I really like both of the looks that I did. I don't really have any complaints. I don't think they're bad. I just don't think that they're my favorites. The shimmers are for sure the stars of the show in this. I think that they are so beautiful. They're so shiny, so shimmery. They perform so well. I didn't really have a lot of creasing with any of these. This one is the only one that creased just like a tiny bit on me after a very long day, but honestly, it still looked good on the eyes. And if you looked at me from far away, you wouldn't even have been able to tell because it just looked really, really nice. So I'm really happy about this palette. I'm excited about the like evolution of this brand. I'm excited to see what they do in the future. I wonder if they're gonna stick to their 9 pans. I really like the 9 pans personally, but I would like to see them expand and do something a little bit different eventually. But for now, I think that the 9 pans are beautiful, and I like the fact that they're trying color stories that are a little bit different and not something that is really on the market right now, and I applaud them for that. I think that they're doing a really good job, and I think they're a very exciting brand, and I'm just excited to see them keep growing, and hopefully they'll do really, really well because their quality is nice. And I'm sure if you have any of their palettes, you can attest to that. Let me know if you picked up any of their palettes in the past, and if you're going to pick up this one. I think it's really, really nice. I think if you have it, you're going to enjoy it. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some other Fantasy Cosmetica videos, I can make a playlist. I probably have enough. I'll put that up there. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.